Welcome, my name is Claire, and today I want to share with you some of the things that may happen to you as you are going through your shadow work. So, shadow work is a very deep and often painful process, but it also uncovers so much wisdom and releases so much pain and trauma. Is 100% worth it. So I really want you guys to know what to expect when you start doing your shadow work so that you'll be prepared and you will feel a little bit more comfortable in this very uncomfortable process. While you're here, go ahead, like this video and subscribe for more. Hit the bell for notifications. And I really do appreciate all of your supports and comments. So first of all, let's go ahead with a quick recap of shadow work. Shadow work is basically where you start to go within and uncover and process and feel all of the shadows, the dark, the scary, the painful, traumatic, deep repressed emotions that you have been running from. So you're basically going into your inside, going within, shining a light on all of the shadows that have been keeping you down and that have been causing you to get triggered and that have been causing you to be anxious or depressed. And also, in the shadow work, you're also uncovering the gifts and the wisdom and the actual truth of who you are. So when you uncover the dark shadows and you do the shadow work, you release these things, you also uncover the truth that you are worthy, that you are, inherently valuable, you're good enough, all of these different things that we were born knowing, and then over time, the trauma, the abuse, different things, belief systems develop and push down the truth and hide the truth from us, and we start believing that we're not good enough or that we are inherently bad, or all sorts of different belief systems that get created. So in this way, shadow work is going to help you get back to your true self that you were from the beginning and that you always should know about yourself. What are some of the things that happen as you go through shadow work? So I'll just share with you my own experience. One of the first things that I experienced with my shadow work was extreme fear. I was afraid to continue doing the shadow work. I started a little bit and then I got very afraid because there were some really big fearful issues about life in general, about spirituality that I was afraid to go through. So you might experience fear because you're going into this unknown. You've never done this before. You don't know what to expect in your shadow work. And so it can create a standstill where you decide, never mind, I'm good where I am. I know what to expect. I know what life is like, and I just don't want to deal with it. So yes, the standstill, the fear, that's one major thing that you may feel when you are doing your shadow work. You might also start to feel out of control because the more that you go into the shadow work, everything, your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about life, your beliefs about others, your beliefs about the world, they all become, they all start to shift and they all start to break down as you do the shadow work. So what I did here is I did stand still. I did back off from my shadow work and I was very afraid and I decided, oh gosh, I'm not going to go here. I don't know if I can. I started having severe anxiety and I just didn't know what to believe anymore. So it was really, really overwhelming and scary not to know what to believe and also to be afraid of the unknown. So I did that for a little while and then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to push through. I'm just going to do this. I have to do this. So the next thing that happens when you do shadow work is you might start uncovering beliefs that you have about society, that you have about the world at large, that you have about spirituality. And as you do this, you just have to keep pushing through because eventually it will make more sense to you and you'll be able to find a little bit of an equilibrium and feel a sense of balance. Whereas when you first start, it's really, really unbalanced. You might also, as you do shadow work, start to uncover beliefs and traumas from your parents and from your partners and from people in your life who you have been very close to and you've absorbed their energy without even realizing it. So when you grew up as a child, there's often the beliefs of your parents that they transfer into you energetically. This is in their mannerisms, this is in their energy and demeanor, the way that they speak to you. And as a child, it's often that you have heightened empathy and you're like a sponge. So you're absorbing information, you're also absorbing energy. And as you absorb energy from your parents, you absorb their traumas and their beliefs. So when you do shadow work, you're going to sometimes have to take the role of your parent or partner, and write or process as if you are them. And this is where you start purging their traumas and their views on life and their beliefs. And you'll start to really understand, wow, this is what my parent was going through. This is why they were so anxious. And this is why I became anxious, because I learned it from them. So that's another thing that you will experience as you do shadow work, is potentially you will be healing for your parents and you will be taking on their role of healing as you do this process. So you're basically closing the loop of the family traumas and the family beliefs, and that's going to be very beneficial for you moving forward. The next thing that you will experience doing your shadow work is you will get to your own beliefs. So the shadow work, how things come up can seem pretty random. I don't quite understand exactly why things stack up the way that they do and why they get uncovered the way that they do, but that's just the process. So you will also be healing from your trauma. That's one of the big ones, is you're going to be healing from your own childhood trauma, your own childhood beliefs, experiences that you had gone through that created, a repressed emotion or a repressed belief about yourself or others, and you're going to uncover that as well. So that's super, super important, is being prepared to go into your past and relive those memories and relive the difficult memories, and sometimes revert to being a child while you're doing your shadow work. You might have to cry like a baby, or you might have to have a personal reliving the exact memory of when you were a child. During your shadow work, you will also have to deal with trauma and energy release from adulthood. So this could be anywhere from in your recent past to years ago. So it's not only limited to childhood trauma, it's also growing up. You might have had traumatic events, deaths in the family, breakups, abuse, all sorts of different things that happened after you were already an adult or a young adult. It's easy to bury and it's easy to think that you've grieved, but maybe you have not fully grieved. And so this will come up again for you and allow you to fully grieve the death of your parent or the breakup or whatever it is that you have been running from. So what are some of the emotions that you may experience during shadow work? So as I have said before, often there's fear, especially at the beginning when you're starting to get into shadow work. You might also feel overwhelmed. You might feel very disoriented or feel like you don't know what to believe. You might not know, if you're mentally stable, because your whole belief on life and belief about the world and about society and about everything is breaking apart and crumbling down to find the real truth. So those are things that can be very difficult. As you go through your shadow work, there is likely that you will feel some very deep shame around certain areas, shame that you have developed from maybe your parents and the way that they treated you, or maybe beliefs and fears about yourself. And so this is very hard. Sometimes people don't want to face the deep shame. And that's important for you to get through, because once you get through to the other side, you release all of that shame. You might feel extreme guilt. So especially for those of us who have been raised by narcissistic parents, there is that whole guilt dynamic that they have instilled in you from the very beginning, where you feel that you owe them and that you are there for them. You're not allowed to live your life for yourself, and you are basically there to serve them. So anything that you do for yourself, or if you're not there on their beck and call, there's that guilt tying you to them, that can tie you to them for your entire life until you finally start doing the shadow work. So even with me, even if you have been abused and neglected and treated so badly by a certain person, your belief system ties you to them and makes you feel guilty and makes you feel like the bad one and makes you feel like you are responsible and that you owe them and you have to be there for them. And you might also have made up a lot of different things about them to where you flip it back and think you are the bad one. So you will uncover that as well during your shadow work. You might also experience a lot of sadness, okay? So crying, lots of crying. That's going to be very cathartic. So that's when you're releasing emotions, and once you release those emotions, that trauma is gone from your body. So when you cry and when you feel that deep, deep pain and sadness, that is actually you finally addressing the root and finally releasing it once and for all. So I would encourage you, when you start feeling like you have to cry, I encourage you to really dive in and cry it out and do the shadow work and feel those emotions. Really feel them. Don't run from them, because if you run from them, you're running from the healing, which is, the root of the problem needs to be healed. Another thing that you will experience as you do your shadow work is anger, especially if you were not allowed to express emotions in childhood. So if you were made to feel like you're not allowed to be angry, or made to feel that you're not allowed to complain or have a problem with the abuse or neglect or way that you were treated, you will likely repress a lot of anger. And so as you do your shadow work, you'll probably feel a lot of anger coming up, and it's going to be overwhelming. Your head might get really hot. You might feel extremely frustrated. You might feel like you have to scribble all over the page and punch things or go scream. So I would suggest that you have some activities ready and lined up to work out, to go scream in the pool or in your car, to punch a pillow, or to go punch something, kickboxing, breaking things with a hammer, whatever you have to do in a safe environment. Obviously, you're releasing your anger, but you're doing this not to anyone else. You're just releasing the anger in a safe way, okay? But you still have to release that anger. Sometimes I've found that journaling can be really difficult to release the anger, because there's only so much that you can do just by writing it out. And so sometimes you just have to, scribble it out, or you might need to take that time to go exercise it out and really let it out. So the next thing that you will most likely experience during your shadow work is frustration. So you have all these different emotions, and there's a lot of different things that you have repressed. So frustration kind of goes along with anger, but for me it was kind of harder to identify. I didn't quite know what was going on, but it was very frustrating and difficult. And so you just keep writing it out, or keep doing your shadow work, meditating it out, and eventually the frustration will dissipate and you will feel relief, okay? So if you do get angry or frustrated, you can let it out in your journal. You can write how you feel in the moment about others or about yourself. The real goal here is just to let it out and just let it all out however it is, even if it's harsh, even if you're using swear words, even if you're calling people names in your journal, as long as it's private and as long as you're not hurting or affecting anyone else, okay? That's completely fine. You might also feel all sorts of emotions as you realize and as you detach from the past version of yourself. So you might be feeling grief as you look back and realize, you know, your lost childhood, or realize the abuse that you've gone through, or realize that you have been devaluing yourself for so long and not seeing yourself for who you truly are. So there could be grief, there could be deep sorrow. All of this is normal. You can get through this, and so just be aware. And lastly, the great thing about shadow work is that I have found through every trigger and every piece of shadow work that I do, once I get through the difficult emotion and the pain and whatever my process is, at the end of that, I get the gem of wisdom. So you will be getting the gem of wisdom as you go through the harder emotions, and you will come out with a gratitude and a revelation in many cases of what really is, such as maybe you started out by feeling, I don't deserve to be happy, I don't deserve to get my needs met. You go through the shadow work, you start uncovering why that belief is, oh, my parents did this to me, I'm not good enough because my parents neglected me, I don't deserve this, etc. You get to the end of that shadow work session and you realize, oh wow, I have always deserved to be happy. So things like that you will uncover, and you will find the wisdom and the empowerment at the end of your shadow work. And this comes in, you know, each separate shadow work that you do. It's not just complete difficult shadow work for months and months and months and then suddenly there's a gem of wisdom. No, it's actually each session or each time that you sit down to do shadow work and you really purge some deep emotions, you will find a gem of truth and enlightenment and wisdom through that. So all in all, it's really, really great, so worth it, and you will grow so much by doing your shadow work. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I am happy to help, and I will see you guys in my next one. And remember, as always, you are so powerful. Bye, guys.